Champions League round of 16 has already served up a number of brilliant games. This time we're going into the second leg of Liverpool versus PSG, Inter versus Feyenoord, Bayer Leverkusen versus Bayern Munich, and Barcelona versus Benfica. So we're going to start with the biggest game of them all tonight, and that was Liverpool versus PSG. And what a game it was. The scoreline doesn't do this game justice. We're going to go through the teams very, very quickly, very high level from a Liverpool standpoint. No major surprises. Jota up front, he hasn't been performing the best recently. However, he was in the starting lineup. His clinical nature normally will be the difference between Liverpool winning the game and not. Luis Diaz and Salah on the wings. Soboslai just behind Jota. For PSG, we know how they've been set up, and their team in these two legs have shown their quality. That amazing midfield that they have of Neves, Vitinha, and Ruiz, supplemented by the brilliant front three of Dembele, Akola, and Cavaselli. And again, they've got quality all across the pitch. Both teams, so two big European giants going up against it. PSG yet to win the competition. They have been in the hunt for a Champions League win for a very, very long time. And if this iteration of PSG can, potentially take them as far as they have previously, now with Liverpool being out, you look at teams like Inter, like Real Madrid, as being the big guns who you need to look out for. Going into the game, and we'll go talk about it very, very briefly, look at the stats. PSG, in my estimation, deserved and did enough in the game to win it. You look at the first leg, it's almost justification for the hard work that they put in throughout the whole game, and then to lose that game to Liverpool was definitely a bitter blow. However, the writing was on the wall, and I'm sure they gained confidence from that game at home and took that into this game. I would say from pretty much the beginning, they look to be threatening, they look to be dangerous. Their goal comes from a brilliant counter-attack. We see brilliant work by Dembele to move the ball out to the right wing. How Barcola gets there ahead of Robertson, I have no clue at all. It may be Robertson's age, the lack of speed, how quick Barcola is, but he got to that ball rapidly. He finds a ball into the box, and there is Dembele to pick up the scraps after a deflection. And listen, he deserved that goal. PSG deserved that goal. It put them in a brilliant position for the rest of the game. I will say Liverpool actually increased their level as the game went on. And the second half, I feel like Liverpool should have taken that advantage on, and actually they dominated the second half. They dominated majority of the second half without much issue. They weren't clinical, they weren't taking their chances, they weren't being threatening enough in my estimation as well. The tide in the game turned in extra time when PSG were able to regain control. I will say that I don't think Liverpool in their attack were as potent and as proficient as they could have been. Defensively, Konate and Van Dijk held it down for majority of the game. I did think Robertson got exposed, as mentioned. Trent less so, but still, there was a couple of times where he was exposed. Again, I think from both sets of teams, they did really well. I think Liverpool would have wanted to take advantage of who they have in their team and the experience they have in their team, and the fact that they're, in front of their home fans. Bitterly disappointing to lose same day that they had lost a number of years ago to Atletico Madrid. And it's a bitter pill to swallow because the team finished top of the Champions League group stage, or should I say the league table, and to then go out in the next round to a PSG team who essentially didn't do what they needed to do at that stage can be very, very annoying. But Liverpool still have a lot to play for. They have the Carabao Cup, they have the Premier League, which they should be winning. It's not the end all and be all, but I'm sure they would have loved to progress into the latter stages. You cannot downplay how disappointed they would be not to be progressing, but a lot more to look forward to from their side. In terms of key players, I want to call out very, very quickly. A couple of players I want to call out. Paco, young centre-back, again, really, really impressed with him and how he's played. Young Ecuadorian centre-back, a lot of quality there. A little bit rash at times, but you can see that he's a player. Nuno Mendes, what a performance. What an absolute performance. I don't know if the stats will do it justice, but he was an absolute problem. He was dominating Salah. Salah was, welcome to the Mendes penitentiary because he's got you locked up. He was dealing with Salah like not many can. 18 defensive actions, 3 interceptions, 8 clearances, 2 blocks, 75% of his tackles won, only dribbled past once, 110 duels. Just got to give him his hats off for the young defender. I've already spoken about this midfield three. Neves, Vitinha, Ruiz, quality, quality, quality. And then you look on the bench and you've got a Zaire Emery, coming off it. That is a four-man midfield that, listen, I think has to be one of the best in world football. Barcola didn't have his greatest of nights, but was there for essentially the pre-assist for Dembele's goal. He was sensational. He is the top goal scorer out of everybody in 2025. Hats off to him for the work that he's been doing, transitioning to this striker position, being in and around, leading the attack where needs be. From a Liverpool side, who impressed me, again, defensively was good. Alisson had his moments. Van Dijk, Konate, all very solid. Outside of that, I wouldn't say I was overly impressed with anybody. McAllister was good to a degree. Szoboszlai could have been a lot better. Diaz, again, wasn't clinical. Jota was very, very poor. And Salah, again, the levels need to increase in these big games. And I don't think we got that from Liverpool. A lot has been taken out of them by the league campaign. We can't take that away from them and how they've progressed through a number of different competitions. But their Champions League journey comes to an end. PSG will be going through. They will be facing the winner of Club Brugge versus Aston Villa, and I am very, very intrigued to see who will come out of that. It looks like Aston Villa versus PSG, Unai Emery against his old team. That should be good. We'll cover those games tomorrow. But into the Inter game, we have them qualifying and progressing past Feyenoord. The writing was on the wall from the first leg. Inter had done what they needed to do with a Feyenoord team who was, just appointed a new manager. Thuram opening up the scoring. It did look like Feyenoord may have a way back into the game, not necessarily the tie with their equaliser. However, Çalhanoğlu would put the icing on the cake for an Inter team who are as dangerous as they come defensively, know how to shut opponents out in the main, and have the quality up front to get a goal when needs be. Thuram getting the goal this time. I don't think we saw, it's correct, we didn't see Martinez start this game, so it was Taremi who was up front. Çalhanoğlu with his goal. Mkhitaryan playing very, very well as well. For Feyenoord, their journey comes to an end. They, again, have to be very proud of how they performed and getting to this stage. Teams of a high caliber and teams of a higher wage structure, for example, were progressing, not to the degree that Feyenoord did with all the disruption that they've had. It's good to see them, progress to this point. Their journey does come to an end. And for Inter, it's going to be very interesting to see who they will have next. I'm not 100% sure at the moment, but it will be very, very interesting. Next up, Bayer Leverkusen versus Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich rounding off and killing off Leverkusen's chances in the Champions League. 5-0 whitewashed by the German giants. And Kane delivering once again. Company side are progressing. They have quality all over the pitch. Again, all of the teams at this stage that are going to be entering into the final 8 have quality, have a structure. Company will be very encouraged by his team. Musiala, Elise, Kane on job as always. Structure that's helped them progress is also what needs to be intact for them to even go even further. We saw some of their struggles against Celtic. If they can remove all of those, I would say, impurities from their game, they will have a good chance of winning. But I still don't see them as a winner at this point, even though they have the striker, they have the midfield. Offensively, they've got, the personnel. Just as a unit, can they deliver continuously? And that's something that's still in question. Bayer Leverkusen, I would say this was very disappointing from their side. It does reflect a disappointing season for them in the league as well. They just need to kind of find a way to bounce back. And for Xabi Alonso, it's going to be quite interesting because he had the opportunity to go to Bayern Munich or to Liverpool, and he decided to stay. This season not going as he probably would have expected, and you may want to, have an understanding of, does he wish he would have refranked? And there's a question, and there's a question of, does he rethink his decision? Did he make the right decision? I think the Leverkusen dream and goal was accomplished. It was a good sentiment to stay, and it warmed a lot of people's hearts. But onto bigger and better things, and I think the move to Bayern Munich, while boring and predictable, might have been one that would have allowed him to achieve even more glory in these European competitions. Finally, we're going to cover the Barcelona versus Benfica game, and what can you say about the two boys for Barcelona, Rafinha and Yamal, absolutely balling out, setting the stage for Barcelona, who are looking like an incredibly strong team. Getting rid of Benfica was one part of it. Getting them out in the style that they did in this game was very, very impressive. Benfica did come up with a little bit of a threat with Otamendi's goal. However, Yamal with his assist for Rafinha with the opening goal, and then for him to give Barcelona the lead, just showing his quality as young as he is, 17 years of age, but very, very dangerous. As you can see, he has an effect on the game. Not only does he play, not only does he create, but he can also score as well. I think he is an immense creator for his team. His dribbling puts opposition players in a very, very difficult position. And again, we've spoken about midfield and attacking quality. You look at this front four, I mean, you're not getting many more better ones in Europe. And then plus you add a Pedri and a De Jong. I mean, listen, Barcelona can get caught out. They can concede. We've seen it time and time again. But they know how to score, and they know how to score a lot of goals. And if you can't compete in that area, you're going to be in trouble. But again, Flick has done an amazing job with the team, putting them in this position. They've got quality all around, as mentioned. And I look at them as being one of the big favourites. Defensively, can they stay strong is the question. That is the question. And I think it's one that they're going to have to answer. And it might just be one of those situations where they're going to have to outscore their opponent. And it may just be one of those situations where they're going to have to outscore their opponent, similar to what they had in the game where they played Dortmund, and I think it was like a 4-3 game. It's going to be one of those for Barcelona. I think their attack is going to have to shine. Going into the games, as mentioned, we've seen the knockout of Liverpool, Feyenoord, Bayer Leverkusen, and Benfica. Tomorrow we have got the Lille versus Borussia Dortmund game. It will be very interesting to see that one. Arsenal versus PSV, Arsenal 7-1 up. Aston Villa 3-1 up against Club Brugge, and Atletico Madrid losing 2-1 to Real Madrid. And so it's all to play for in a number of those games. I'm excited, especially for the Lille Dortmund one and Madrid derby. It should be very, very interesting, guys. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I hope to hear from you soon. We'll catch up tomorrow. Peace.